Look, Mazda's come out with their first EV, and it's got those cool doors, you know, that probably remind you of the Mazda RX-8.
Oh, sweet. Was that mediocre rotary powered engine to my beloved 90s sports car?
Well, yeah. You have heard though, right? They're building a hybrid rotary powered version of this. Yeah, it's just around the corner. No, of course it's not turbo. That would be an oxymoron.
Yeah, speaking of morons, how far did you drive home?
Just across town. Why? Do you think I'll make it?
Guess you'll find out soon.
Ah. Okay, so it's not all bad. I really don't want to start off this video poking too much fun at the brand new Mazda MX-30. Let's go for a drive. After a week of driving this thing, especially because it does actually have a shorter wheelbase than the Mazda 3, and its body in its entire length is also shorter than a Mazda 3. And after driving it for a week, it feels like a lifted hatchback more than a crossover, which is a good thing. Now that may just be subjective to me because I, in general, like being a little bit closer down to the road, having a lower center of gravity, which actually is kind of, you know, it's kind of ironic for me as a driving enthusiast, somebody who loves sports cars, somebody who traditionally likes shifting themselves. I like a lower center of gravity, and EVs give you that. They give you exactly that. The batteries in this car are what you could call like a skateboard deck, so they're all right flat on the bottom of the vehicle. Okay, so it's actually based on the Mazda CX-30 platform, effectively. So that's why they're very similarly priced, although this is slightly more expensive than that because, of course, it's an EV. The way I was thinking about this the other day, this is basically, you know, when Acura first announced the new generation NSX, a little bit of wheel spin coming out of that corner. Acura teased the NSX for years and years. We're like, hey, you guys, we just want you to know that, don't worry, the second gen NSX is coming, it's coming. And it ended up kind of backfiring on them because they took so long to come out with that car. This is a bit like that in the sense that Mazda has gone out and said, hey, don't worry, you guys, we're bringing EVs. We're thinking about it. We've got EVs here. Here's one you can, you know, just soak up for a year or two until we finish the research and development on a brand new proprietary, fully new electric vehicle that will hopefully revolutionize and kind of kick off the next leg of Mazda's journey towards a sustainable EV future. I hate using that word. I love gasoline powered cars so much that it annoys me that EVs are coming, but they're here. And in fact, as a daily, I love driving them. So what you'll see as a byproduct of this is the MX-30 doesn't have great range. As I joked about in the intro, it only will take you about 100 miles on a full charge, which is 161 kilometers for you fellow Canadians, which isn't that far to go. So why don't we just see what that looks like for a moment, shall we? So allow me to paint a picture. You want to leave Vancouver to pick up a package down in Seattle. Your range anxiety begins to become a distraction, you know, somewhere around Bellingham. As it hits you, you're never gonna make it in one charge. You sweat the entire way to Smoky Point, where you're forced to stop and, well, have a smoke, of course. This calms your anxiety just enough to make it to Seattle with the remaining amount of sanity required to grab your package and find a place to sleep. The next morning, you unplug and begin the journey back home, only to make small talk with several pedestrians asking about the car because they've never seen one before. Yes, the Mazda MX-30 is currently only sold in Montreal, Vancouver, and California. .143 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque, which, yes, in a world, gonna be honest, you guys, in a world of EVs that are breaking 0 to 60 records, breaking quarter-mile records, it seems like new ones are being broken every single week. 200 pound-feet of torque is plenty for a city car like this. It's not a car for road trips, but especially from, let's say, 0 to 80 kilometers an hour, it's pretty peppy. It's pretty quick. Shall we actually turn around here for a second? We'll do a little bit of a 0 to 60 run here. If you leave traction control on, it does struggle for traction right off the line. Of course, instant torque, an instant 200 pound-feet getting put to the ground. It is a little bit wet on the ground right now. If you have a keen eye and you want to watch the power meter on the left here, you'll see that we don't actually get 100% of the power to the wheels, or 100% of the 200 pound-feet to the wheels, until we're at about 30 to 40 kilometers an hour. But you can take a look. I'll just mat it and see what happens. 50% power and 100%, 60 kilometers an hour. It doesn't get 100% of the power to the wheels until about 60 kilometers an hour, and that's 120 kilometers an hour. It's not fast. I have to kind of call it slow. It's a slow, especially for an EV. But let's try that again with traction off. Okay, so even then, this is strange. It didn't give us full power there either, which last night, coming off the line, I was able to easily get wheel spin and a lot of torque steer with traction control off. I actually don't know what's going on here. Okay, so if you go rolling, it gives you the power quicker, but even still, I find myself just flooring the car everywhere because it's so much fun. You don't feel like you're wasting anything. Just, there we go. There's a lot of wheel spin coming out of the corner. I can clearly feel that there's no LSD up front. So the MX-30 is only front wheel drive. Pretty quiet. Of course, here on the interior, let's look around. There's some different things going on here that aren't traditional Mazda, yet we still have the very traditional kind of minimalist Mazda interior here, which I love. All black leather. No, it's not leather actually. It's vegan leather, okay? Up here, we actually have this strange kind of new material that looks like a cloth, kind of carpet material. This is actually recycled plastic bottles in which the plastic fibers are like woven together to create this new material that's a little bit more sustainable to go along with the EV kind of allure of the EV here, okay? And then we have cork. We have cork down here in this extra large compartment here, storage compartment underneath the center stack that's kind of raised up a little bit. This cork, I learned something new. Mazda begun as a cork manufacturer. So this is actually a throwback, as some of you guys may have heard, to that era, way back when. And then there are a few new things. Of course, the HVAC controls have their own screen down here. So there are a couple of buttons. You can adjust your temperature either with a button or you can adjust it on the screen. And you can do the same with your fan speed. You can either adjust it on the button or you can go on the screen. So there are options there, but it's always here. It doesn't move, right? And it's in a good spot. It of course has Mazda's GVC, G-vectoring control, which is active brake vectoring. That's a lot of understeer. Okay, so snow tires in the wet. We cannot just huck it into a corner. Do not expect the level of handling confidence that would be in a Mazda 3 here. These cars, like Mazda has such smooth driving dynamics. The steering, incredibly smooth, predictable. The handling, you never feel like you're having to make minor adjustments. That's their goal, and they have absolutely succeeded in doing that and in conveying that to the driver in all of their new vehicles that I've driven. And the Mazda 3, I think, is their flagship. The Mazda 3 Turbo is like the most important there, but the steering carries over here. You know, it doesn't feel as connected, I guess I could say. The car doesn't feel as sports car-like as the Mazda 3, and that's to be expected here. But the driving dynamics are still here. The baseline DNA of what Mazda has put in their other offerings is still absolutely here. The underlying principles here, like, this is a sign of good things to come. This is a sign of good things to come. And while Starting at $44,000 Canadian, this GT that I'm driving today is $49,000 Canadian. You get a few other things. With that, you do get the metallic wheels, you do get LED headlights, you get a number of other safety features as well, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, and a number of other things. With that, I mean, it's really hard to justify the MX-30 for anyone who's not just in a very densely populated area. As you reach a pretty quick speed, you can literally watch the speedometer go up and watch the battery percentage go down as the speedometer is rising. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of driving a high horsepower turbocharged RB or 2JZ that's running on E85. It goes down, the gas gauge, the EV charge gauge goes down as quick, if not quicker, than a big turbo car on E85. A lot of people don't like the way the MX-30 looks. They think it's ugly. I enjoy it. You know, it reminds me of that GLE 63, the X6M kind of look, that sloped back end. The MX-30 doesn't disappoint me in the looks department. I'm not one who thinks it looks funky, who thinks it looks weird and odd and ugly. I don't think it looks ugly at all. I think there's plenty of more ugly EVs on the market, especially EVs. The Nissan Leaf, just to name one. Anyways, you guys, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. This has been the Mazda MX-30. I'm not someone traditionally who is drawn to EVs, but I love keeping up with them because it is what seems to be the future coming towards us. And it's, as a daily, I think it's great. I think it's great if it suits your needs. That's the basis of this, right? Because the range is effectively half of a normal gas tank of any kind of normal pedestrian vehicle. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the MX-30. Hit me up on Instagram if you want to see what I'm shooting and driving. Soon, I promise you, we will have some exciting cars coming up here. We've got some exciting things planned in the pipeline, especially as we come out of winter here and head into the spring. So thanks guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you soon.